I know I'll never see blue eyes again. In fact, I may never see nothing again. Corridor, a memory dream. Seen someone slipping in on a black and blue night. Poker face, tears blinding my sight. On a black and blue night. I pull the shutters, crank up that light. There's something in there I wanted in plain sight. She walks with me like Jesus sometimes do, in a shivering rendezvous. On a black and blue night, raining again is blinding my sight. On a black and blue night. Never seen a place like Hazleton, pirouette and hoodlums dancing around. Never seen such a dirty town. Stand for the cause, sacrifice the ghost of Santa Claus to fit the battle of Jericho, toss the gauntlet in the ass's jaw. On a black and blue night, poker face, his tears blinding my sight. On a black and blue night.
Beat reader, 50-year gap. Back a long time ago, there was a lot of the music, the jazz, which I'll get Will to go into, and unusual for this area, but it's sprung back up after 50 years. So Will, would you like to tell me about that? Will?
Oh, yeah.
Beat reader.
What happened? Oh, beat. Yeah, beat. Yeah, it's like we were talking, what John Phillips talking about with the musicians, random bands, improvisational mixings and co-mixings of poetry, music, jazz, folk, rock, avant-garde noise. It's actually, it's new to now and it seems unique, but it actually is really, really old stuff. Really, it's just like it flourished for a while, and then other things, I think Vietnam and the 70s and stuff like that, disco, it kind of took its precedence, but this stuff was still around, influential, because guys like Kerouac and these guys, and the folk thing that came along sort of corresponding with it and sort of around it. You had your jazz poetry clubs, you had your open mics up in places like New York or out on the West Coast.
And what an atmosphere that must have been too.
I think that's probably our biggest influence. But it's basically just a matter of you got a bunch of people, put them together and see what happens.
And that's what they did, and a lot of stuff was born out of that in those days. People that we know of today as legends, that very same thing is happening in the Valley area right now.
Actually, did you interview Dave Schwimmer already?
Not yet.
You have it. Well, when you get Dave on, Dave actually comes from this era.
Nice.
He grew up his family is actually from the Village. I think they're from Connecticut or something.
Sweet.
But he spent like his early years in the folk scene, and so he actually has seen this from the early days, and he sees the comparisons to what's sort of growing now is very similar.
Sweet.
In our own southern way. Of course, this is the South, and we do things a lot differently down here.
But it's a similar sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
And going from that into, I know it's very similar to what we've actually been saying, or what you've actually been saying, but tell me your take, your personal take, because everybody's
shake
got
and bake.
Rock the hell on, brother.
That's
your
it.
personal shake.
Bake.
Your personal take on
If you're not first, you're last.
the local music scene.
Mm-hmm. I think it's the local music scene. It ebbs and flows, but it's got a really tight structure. It's just these people just won't give up. It's like nobody's making any money. Nobody wants to pay them, but we just keep fighting, banging on the door. It's like one scene dies and suddenly there's another one pops up because basically, we kick the door open and we're not going to let it go shut again.
Exactly.
Nameless places, we're not going to name any names, but if they want to try to put the kibosh on it, then somebody else is willing to pick it up.
Yeah.
And that's why basically we're moving to East Alabama because there's really a lot more freedom over here.
No wall stands forever.
Yeah.
What would you like to see happen in the Valley music scene?
I'm not sure I could put that on TV, but you get the idea, I'm thinking. Okay.
Well, how would you like to see it progressing? What would you like to see it grow into?
That's a good question. I'm not really good at predicting the future.
Well, this doesn't have to be what you think is going to happen, but what you would like to see happen. Because you never know, somebody might pick up on it, and things might start moving in that direction.
Well, as far as I will say for the future, because this is coming up in about 3 weeks. This is the future. I like to see more things like this. I like to see more local. Festival type settings. We had the Doonanny last week. We got Hog Bottom coming up on April 30th. This is actually for the House of Heroes. This is benefit, but you've got a lot of your local folks involved in this. Sean Rocks, I think he's been on this show already. Rick Edwards, but basically that's what I like to see. I like to see the music scene continue to. I like to see people work together. That's one thing about it. I think I've heard a lot of other places it's every man for himself, and here we're kind of got a community. Mm-hmm. That's how we get this random band, this Shadowville All Stars thing going, is because there's so many people are willing to get together. I hate to sound like a communist or something.
Well, it's like...
But it's like working together and collaborative.
That's where both the Shadowville All-Stars and Renegade were born.
That's the point. You're a great artist in your own right, and you come together and work with me, and we produce something totally different from that aspect, And
it's all... And frequently you have the same people behind you, but... What makes it different is what makes each individual thing individual is the art of the person at the microphone. As far as like artists with backers. I'm not talking about bands who are a band as an entity, but an artist with backing. Even though they might have the same people behind them, it's always different because the person that they are backing has a completely different kind of art from everybody else.
Yeah, I think that's what Dennis Beck, he's one of the founders of the Shadowville All-Stars. It's like basically his concept of the musicians working with the front person, say whether it's your Renegade or my Shadowville All-Stars or the Sean Rocks Barbecue Authority is another one that's come out like that. It's like it's a Sean Rock's trio, but there might be 17 people.
Yeah.
And I think Sean was on here recently. Actually, I think there's a special on Channel 7 with Sean Rocks. It comes on occasionally. Bib City Rambler is another example who shared Doonanny's stage with me. Also available on this channel. I got to really say the East Alabama cable is really progressive as far as television, local television. And but let's see, where was I? Yeah, Dennis Beck, great friend, founder of one of the earliest members. You, Beck, Jim Mothershed, Sam Singer, John Phillips, the original Shadowville All Stars. He came up with this sort of, I think it was the statement of purpose or whatever. And basically, he was like, hey, let's start this Shadowville All Stars thing. And his quote was, to be a canvas for Will Dockery's paintings of words, word paintings. And I think that works with everybody. I think that works, well, not everybody, but that works with your group.
Yeah.
That works with Sean, Brian Fowler, these guys, it's like their vision, Dan Davison. Who else is on the list? Connolly Brothers.
Everybody. Oh, yeah.
Rick Edwards. Pretty much everybody's using this concept of you got a core individual or individuals, and then you might have a fiddle player, just virtuoso people coming in and really just bringing out this lush thing that is maybe one time only. And thanks to recording and video, we capture some of it.
Yeah.
But a lot of times you just got to show up. Everyone's different. If there's an open mic here, it's going to be different than the one over here. So you go to one, you haven't seen it all. You got to keep showing up and support the clubs. If you drink or whatever, buy a beer, because these folks are trying to.
It all ties in together.
It kind of keeps the doors open,
And in closing, we'll do a quick thing right at the end where you can get this. What would you have to do? What would you say to an aspiring artist out there who has not yet come to an open mic?
I would say, come on down, come on down. We had 2 or 3 new ones last night, didn't we?
Yeah.
And don't worry about the nervousness. Going back to '95, I hate to say it, but I was a little shaky myself, But it's basically, think of Frank Sinatra. Sinatra said, "Walk into the room like you own the place," and I believe that's pretty much, that's pretty much a life philosophy, wherever you're at, Like, what are you doing in my living room anyway? This is it.
And that's the way it is.
Yeah. Rock on, brother.
Right the hell on. Shake and bake. Where can you get this?